Good morning. November 4th, 6:25 in the morning. Um, I wasn't expecting to do this episode for at least a week or a couple more days at the max, or I'm sorry, a couple more days at the lowest. But I jumped on that scale this morning like I do almost every morning. Just looking to see how it is. Um, Last time I had spoken to you, I had just had Halloween. So today's the 4th. 3 days ago, I said, hey, Halloween was yesterday, and I gave my update. It was kind of a just do whatever you want day. And I had gained like a pound and a half when I did that. And I wasn't, I don't like seeing the scale going up, but in the circumstances that made this scale go up for one day, I wasn't upset. I was like, I had a good time, no problem. I know I'm going to get rid of it. C'est la vie. And then now it's been 2, 3 days since then, and I've gone back to being very sensible. Um, you still have to sneak that little piece of candy every now and again because the flavor is just so good. You want something in your mouth to give you that little small little sugar spike, um, which can be fine. Which can be fine. One of the things that I have learned is if you're going to have that little piece of sugar, you might want to actually have a little bit of that apple cider vinegar, and that'll kind of curb down that insulin spike that occurs when you have that little piece of sugar. Unfortunately, I have not been doing that, but that's what I'm doing. So I jumped on a scale this morning, and I did it. Bam! I am now in the 250's. I finally made it all the way down to here now. Now, originally I thought that the 250's, once I got there, was going to take forever inside of it because there's no real milestones along the way. But I'm in there now. And actually, I started thinking about it, and I wrote down on my other little trusty high tech post it note too. I got like 5 or 6 uh, milestones within the 250's that need to be taken care of. So, first off, I'm in the 250's. That actually I considered a milestone. So now I crossed that bugger off right here. So that's one of the ones done. The other ones I'm going to keep a little blurry for now due to the fact that I want to tell you about that when they happen. And I will. I'm very happy the fact that I'm actually doing this and I'm sharing this with you because this allows me to keep accountability and responsibility for what it is I'm doing. I feel like I have someone I need to report to, and I'm not going to lie about what's going on because I can jump on a scale and say, hey, it's 250, but it's actually 280. Who's that really helping out there? I'm not trying to have a boxing match right now where I'm trying to make weight. I'm just trying to be healthy. Um, so, is there anything I can think of that helped this jump into where it is? Why was I able to lose the pound and a half from Sunday and a couple more to get into the 250's? Um, First thing off the top of my head is yesterday morning, I actually went back to physical therapy. I had gotten surgery on my right knee, my meniscus, back in early August. And it was a very complex tear that happened too. In fact, I didn't realize it, but they said the um, recovery period is going to be like 3 to 6 months. I thought maybe the swelling would go down and the pain would go away and therefore I'd be done, but I was very wrong and very mistaken for having that opinion. So I went back there and they're mainly just working on my quad. For some reason, when you're talking about all the muscles in your leg and trying to get your knee healthier and your knee stronger, they're not really doing anything to strengthen the knee. They're doing things to strengthen the muscles that all surround the knee. So the doctor had reiterated to me they're going to do quad work, quad work, quad work. Now, quad work can be boring because they're not a gym that has all the machines that you can actually do leg presses and whatnot. They're a therapy session, so they'll be more on repetitions and not on weight. And they'll also be very strong on stretching and anything else that goes with getting that muscle ready to go. So the woman took my measurements again as far as how much I can actually bend the knee and or actually flatten it out, maybe get the knee down to the mat. But other than that, it was like, do little leg lifts with a weight on your thing, or, sit down on the machine. It's kind of like a rowing machine in reverse with your legs. But what I did when I was there is I just hit it as hard as I could. The staff there are very nice and friendly. You're supposed to count your own reps. So they'll come over and say, we want 2 or 3 reps of 10. I did 3 of 15. And still, when I was done, I had to get their attention to come over and move on to the next thing. But doing squats, they wanted 3 10s. I did 3 15s. So I just made sure I stretched down deep into the squat and just did more reps. So I'm not going to say, hey, I exercised for one day. That's definitely what did it. But it is exercise that's going to assist me in getting down numbers a lot faster and a lot smoother and easier. Now, doing exercise, not exactly what you would call easy, but there's the old adage is you get what you put into it. So right now, for the last 2 months or so, I've been putting into trying to develop a healthier body, trying to do weight loss as best I could. I'm just trying different approaches because I like having plans. So whether it's going to be a certain meal plan, like when I did some Slim Fast for a while, or when I was doing the gallbladder cleanse, let me just follow this strictly for one day or 2 days. And now I'm doing a lot with this water retention remediation as well. And I'm trying to stick with that as well as I possibly can. For the most part, my meals have gotten a lot smaller than they used to be. And I'm getting to the point now where I think that I can recognize how little food you actually have to eat in a meal. Which you think, hey, you're going to go out to eat. You're going to have your meal. Maybe it might be appetizer and your meal, maybe dessert, drinks along the way. You go home, whatever else. Which might be fine once in a while. But getting that big old plate that has waffles and bacon, maybe some hash browns on the side, big glass of milk and a big glass of orange juice, maybe even a banana. I mean, that's a lot of volume, which every single bite and sip and gulp might taste delicious on the way down. Just, especially with my level of inactivity, is not necessary for one meal in the day, when there's going to be 2 more that might be equally as large. So my portion control is starting to become a strong factor in what I'm trying to do here. That's the reason why when I first started this in earliest of September, I did the Slim Fast. Because I needed to trick my mind to saying, you don't need the bacon, egg, and cheese on a bagel for breakfast. Let me not have that for 2 weeks. Let me just have this 8 ounces of milk shake instead as a meal replacement. And I had to do that for 2 weeks because sometimes it takes 2 weeks before you start making a habit into your life. So I did that, and now I'm moving forward. Like I said, I went into the first cleanse. Now, as I'm doing the second one, I'm starting to get a little bit more of a meal plan. So now breakfast is like 1 egg and maybe half of an avocado in the egg. Or if I check what's in the fridge, some leftovers and put something together, I might be feeling a really small tortilla of a wrap with maybe some leftover meats and maybe some brown rice and what have you. I can still spice it up, literally and figuratively, as Archer once said. Is there a word that means both? I can spice it up by throwing some Frank's Red Hot in there. Very tasty sauce. I like using it, so I pop that into my little wrap, and boom, that's it. But that's all I have. Another thing I spend a lot of time and concentration on is water. I do drink a lot of water. And I make it a point to keep drinking it, keep drinking it, keep drinking it. Nowadays, and it was mentioned in the water retention cleanse that I'm doing, is cutting up the cucumber and putting that in the glass. That way you get, just a little bit extra flavor. And cucumbers don't have much flavor to begin with, so it's not overpowering. Take about 4 or 5 slices and I pop it in there. I haven't been eating it afterwards, but I easily could, and it probably wouldn't be a bad thing to do that. You get a little chlorophyll in your system then too, and that's, when you go to some places that give you like maybe a massage or a cleanse or a spa or something like that, they generally have that one little container of chlorophyll water next to you. So chlorophyll's not bad. It's the green stuff of the earth. So we go from there. I'm trying to think what else I've done in the last few days that can really spark it off. One of the things that does help me out actually is like I've said before about keeping busy. I keep busy at dinners. So my wife cooks beautiful meals and puts them down there. They're healthy, especially nowadays. We're starting to get like the grass-fed beef or the whole chickens that aren't done out of some kind of like Purdue factory or anything like that. And I've got 2 kids. There's one 3 and one 1. And the 1-year-old usually sits next to me, so I will feed the baby and make sure that that kid is good and satisfied. But when we sit down, I'm cutting up the meat nice and small and popping it on the plate and seeing if he'll just take it by himself. If not, I'll do the feeding. Maybe we have carrots on the side, some steamed carrots, and I'll cut them up nice and small too. So I'm doing all of this once I sit down to the meal. And the good thing is I can still smell the meal, and I might be hungry, but I'm not so ravenously hungry that this is putting me over the edge. So I'm able to do this and put off my own eating for 5 minutes. Sometimes if he really loves the meal, it could be 10 minutes. But then I'll finally have my portion. But by that point, I haven't just sat down and dug into the bowls and grabbed the meat and, finished my plate before anyone else has taken 3 bites. And the 3-year-old, God love him, he's very picky and doesn't really want to eat, or if you give him 2 things, he'll just pick up the one and not touch the other. So I get to use up my time during a meal to make sure that they're eating and doing it properly before me. And it's actually found that it's curbed my appetite a little bit as well. So what I put on my plate is very minimal. Even, for instance, say I take 1 piece of steak and I put that steak on my plate. I got to cut out the portion for the 1-year-old, cut out the portion for the 3-year-old, and then there's some left. Well, instead of grabbing a second piece and putting it next to it, I'll just start eating that what's left. And I found that the what's left is enough for that meal for me. And I'm happy with that because I'm getting used to smaller portions and just enjoying the flavor. It's not just getting past my teeth and getting down my gullet into my stomach without savoring and enjoying it. So I've been concentrating on that, and I think that's assisted me with what I'm doing. And if I'm gonna load up at all, sometimes we have some decent vegetables. Even the ones that are in oil and butter or garlic or something like that too. I just go through those, pop those on my plate, and that's going to be the bulk of my meal. So I'm not ending the day on this like high volume, high carb thing, which isn't very good for you to have that as your last meal. First meal is a lot better than the last meal because it breaks your fast and starts your day with all your energy. But last meal, usually you have that, maybe sit down and go to bed. We'll just sit there and slowly make its way through your system. So, and the water during the day actually does have the ability to I'll show this one. That's my team. The water during the day does have that ability to just kind of fill you up. And if you feel full, I have found that I just don't want to grab something to snack on. So I'm fine with it. And by adding things like lemon or cucumber makes the water go down better. Now, in my water retention program, they even say if you think you're retaining water in your skin and in your body, it doesn't mean stop drinking water and dehydrate yourself. You still will require the water. It's just trying to do something in order to have your body release the excess hydration that it's just storing. Maybe it thinks it's not going to get it tomorrow or next month or next week. So that's what it's trying to do. Don't want to be preachy too much longer, so I just want to say I was shocked to see I was in the 250s. I literally turned that scale and adjusted it 3 times and kept jumping back on it. I made sure in my bathroom where we have the tiles on the floor, I put it so it fits on one large tile and it wasn't straddling over the cracks in the seams to make sure this number isn't lying to me. And sure enough, I'm there. So I think I just got a nice daily dose of motivation because I made it here. I don't know exactly how I made it here, but I did. I reversed what happened on Halloween, which I knew I would, but it's glad to see the numbers redeem that. And now I'm on to my next one. I think I got about almost 3 pounds to go before my next true update. Before my next true update in the positive direction. But if something happens and kind of like throws it and derails it and goes in the other direction, you'll hear that as well. In the meantime, it's Thursday. Hope you guys have a good day. I think we turned the clocks back this weekend, if I'm not mistaken. So I'll lose an hour of sleep there too. All right. Take it easy now. Bye.